Right. Hello, everyone. This is Ashley with Koru K9, and today we are joined by our trainer, Rich, who is based out of California, as well as his client, Emily. Emily enrolled her dog, Riley, into a board and train program with Rich, and we're here today to talk about their success story. Emily, tell us a little bit about Riley and kind of what led you to seek out training.
Riley, he's 4 now, but he was 3 when we started. And he's always been very anxious and slow to really accept people and let them be in his space. So since we seem to have a lot more people coming in and out of the house, we wanted to have it be a safe environment for everybody where Riley felt comfortable and we felt safe about having people come into the house.
It's always nice hearing from owners who both seek out training for the benefits that it comes to them and their day-to-day lives, but also understanding that, your dog is struggling and you want to make sure that they feel safe and comfortable as well. Rich, when you first got Riley into the program, like what were some of the things that you noticed right off the bat?
Riley had a lack of confidence in handlers as well as in himself around other dogs. So he would resort to his go-to was to kind of lash out, bark, snap, growl, lunge at people or animals. So that was one of our big focuses was dealing on building his confidence in himself and with the handler.
Yeah, and so typically when you get a dog that is a little bit low confident and, with him being a bit older too, it's a rehearsed behavior. He's successfully been able to push people away by lashing out. Kind of what is your game plan going into something like that?
So especially with dogs like that with behavioral issues, it's what I tell the clients is it's about baby steps. We do everything in small increments of increased difficulty or distraction. So that they can have more wins and they can feel better in their confidence, or they can build their confidence in themselves and how they deal with day to day. So we start with a very low distraction setting, getting used to me in the training room. And then we might do some things outside without other dogs, because that's a little bit higher distraction setting. And then we start adding in I usually use my golden retrievers. So they're older and they're easygoing. So we add them in at a distance. And
hanging out with the yellow dogs. Trying to do our long down with the distractions of being in the house and with the yellow dogs over there.
And gradually increase it to where I have, in Riley's case, I have Riley working with me around my 4-year-old Malinois, or then we go on field trips and things like that.
Okay, we've got Crazy Puppy here. Just did a little walk outside, and we've got our distractor dog is Banner. Say hi, Bam Bam. That's our distractor for the day. He's doing his long down, hanging out on the cot. We're gonna do some stuff here. Hey, that's our other distractors are up there whining. Move that there. You ready? Okay. Place. Yes. Good job. Place. Oh, too quick. Yes. Place. Yes. Good boy.
Would you say that he kind of picked up on the training quickly? Were there any specific hurdles that you had to overcome, a little bit of time just to come out of his shell?
Just coming out of the shell in and of itself was one of the big hurdles. But once he came out of his shell and he kind of got used to me in the system and working with me on a day-to-day basis, he's a smart dog. And he picks up on things quick when it's beneficial to him. And that's what we do, is make it beneficial to them through reinforcement. But he's a smart little dog.
Awesome. And again, with training, every dog is different and responds to training in different ways. Emily, for you, was there anything specific that stood out about the training, or like anything that Rich was recommending where you're like, wow, like I never even thought to do that?
We had worked a little bit on like having him have a place in the house where he could go and it's just his spot and that's where he can hang out and kind of be calm and nobody else goes on his place. We have another dog, so nobody else goes on that place and he knows that's kind of his place where he can chill and everybody's, it's his kind of sanctuary, we'll call it.
Yeah. And were there any major changes that you had to make before he came home in order to maintain that training, whether that's implementing more boundaries or crate training or anything like that?
He doesn't do the crate here, but we definitely have changed his routine before we go on walks and how we take our walks and what the expectation of a walk is.
Yeah. And so from where he first started to where he is now, what would you say is the biggest change that you've seen in him?
Just his ability to feel comfortable walking down the street and having a bike go by, or he still struggles a little bit with motorcycles, but they're a little scary, so I get it. And going by anything that's very loud or will make like a loud sound that might startle him, but his confidence in knowing that like I got him and I'll take care of it and he doesn't have to worry about it.
Awesome. And would you say that there's anything that he just wasn't able to do before that now you really see him to thrive in?
Um, Pretty much just walking without having to lunge at other dogs or bark at other dogs. He has his moments. He's still working, but it's gone from being, out of 10 dogs, he would have reacted to maybe 5 of them. We're down to none or one, depending on the day and depending how he's feeling and, any other factors that might go into it.
And Rich, so when you talk about, the training dogs that you're working with who, are a little bit low confident, kind of do things because it's advantageous to them, and you focus your training on making the training itself advantageous. Can you speak more to that?
So dogs, they like rewards when to them, a benefit is a reward of some sort. In some dogs, it's food, some dogs, it's toys, some dogs, it's just praise and attention. So we utilize those things as reinforcers to reinforce the behaviors that we want. And that's kind of how we approach these dogs, is most of them like treats, basically. So we use a lot of positive reinforcement to have those behaviors that we like reoccur over and over and over so that they become muscle memory.
Riley, here. Yes. Riley, here. Yes. Riley, here. Yes. Good boy. Good boy.
And that way we can fade those rewards, the food rewards, out and start using more of the praise, pets, and attention kind of things. And then maybe at the end we throw in some food or a toy or something like that that's big for them. That way the owner doesn't have to always take food in their pockets when they go out on a walk or something like that. But we utilize what reinforces the dog, what they find reinforcing in their own right, to get them to work with us, basically.
And would you say that you kind of work with a lot of these types of dogs that might be just a little low threshold, and like work on building their confidence up a lot?
Yeah, most of the dogs I work with have some kind of behavioral issue, whether it's reactivity to other dogs, aggression issues towards humans and dogs, and low confidence, which isn't necessarily a huge behavioral issue, but it's something that we have to build up. But yeah, most of the dogs I deal with are behavioral issue dogs.
And so what specifically with Riley and then this success story really stood out to you?
One of the big things, again, going back, is his confidence. He's able to handle being around other animals and other people without feeling that he has to react. And then going along kind of hand in hand with that is Emily's work that she's been doing with him since he went home. I believe he went home in January. I think that's when I took him home. But I get a text message from Emily probably 2 to 3 times a week on their walks and how it went. I get videos. She's found another person in the neighborhood who also has a reactive dog, and they're working together on the issue. And so I get videos from her perspective and her friend's perspective on their dogs walking, from across the street, because they live in a very busy area. But just the communication and the effort that Emily's putting into working with this, with Riley, and making this work for them, it's amazing. So I like seeing that update, basically every week. It's great.
Yeah, and taking that initiative and finding someone else to, in a controlled environment, be able to expose the dogs to each other and work through that. That's really great. The follow through is always so important after a board and train program, and really maintaining those behaviors. Emily, for you, was there a moment where you just saw, either when Riley returned home or even throughout the update videos from Rich, like that breakthrough moment where you're like, wow, like that's my dog, and like look at him go now?
Seeing videos from Rich, like at his house where Riley's walking in pretty close proximity to other dogs and is paying more attention to Rich than worrying about what the other dog is doing, was like really nice to see that he was able to have that confidence, and it was not him terrified that everyone's out to get him, and feeling like, oh, I can walk and everybody's okay, and Rich has got me. If something happens, he'll take care of it.
Yeah, and Rich, and so with that kind of training, really building that engagement with the handler and teaching the dog essentially that they don't have to react because you're in control of the situation. Would you say that that's something that you implement with a lot of your reactive dogs?
Yeah. We have to work with these reactive dogs, and it's not the same with every single dog, but we start with the low distraction setting and then gradually increase the level of difficulty or distraction. But it's pretty much every dog, and all of the reactive dogs. But we also do this with just puppies that we get in for basic obedience training, as we start with low distractions, build engagement, and then increase the ability to deal with higher levels of distraction.
All right. So, Emily, if someone had a dog like Riley, that's watching this, what is something that you would tell them?
Just to be able to accept that some dogs just have some, I don't want to call it an issue, but some dogs just need a little more help, and it's okay to reach out and help, and you're not the only one. And putting in the work really actually does work. But you do have to put in the work. Like, we spend many hours a week just walking and just kind of letting him be able to be in a setting that maybe would have been really hard for him before, and let him kind of work through those quirks.
Yeah, and with that, with those follow-up training sessions that you're doing with him, how would you say, because I know that you've been texting Rich a lot and providing those updates as well, would you say that you've had a lot of feedback coming back and being able to adjust when problems arise?
Yeah, Rich is great. It's really helpful to be able to text him and be like, hey, this happened. Like, what do you think is the best, way going forward? Should I try this? Should I do that? Like, he knows Riley really well, and so he knows what was going to work with Riley that might not work with a different dog.
Have you ever gone through dog training before, or have you had dogs in the past as well with any behavioral issues like reactivity?
We have not. We have another dog. He's 13, and he's very chill, very easygoing, doesn't really care about much of anything. So Riley was very eye-opening. But learning more about him and learning about how to help him be confident and help him feel like he's okay and he can be all right going on a walk. And
Awesome. Rich, All right, to wrap this up, what is just something for the reactive dog owners out there, or even dogs that are just low confidence, don't really outwardly go out and explore the environment, just a little bit fearful? For those dog owners, what is something that they should really just understand about training?
They can make the progress they want to or they need to, but they have to take it slow. It's not something that you can push. Even in a 3 or 4 week board and train, you're not going to get 100% back to or up to what you want or what you perceive to be, a great place. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of progress. The board and train is a great way to get started. As long as you have a trainer that understands the behaviors that they're dealing with, and they can get a good foundation going, but it does take work on a daily basis or darn close to that to continue making that progress. But it can be done. It's not something to just give up on the dog because it's a reactive dog or something like that. It can be done. You just have to put in the effort to do it.
Yeah, so it's definitely a message that we like to spread, is that, board and train program definitely can lay the foundation, but it's not in 3 weeks going to cure all of your problems or not require any work on the back end either. So I love hearing these success stories where the owner is actively involved in the training and being able to continue building off of that to get their dog to the next level. Just so I don't take up any more of your guys' time today, are there any final thoughts that you would like to share, or just anything about Riley that you would like to share, Emily?
He's a great little guy. He's a little chaotic, a little crazy, but when he loves you hard.
Honestly, some of the best dogs are the chaotic ones, but as long as the chaos turns into love, that's all that matters. But this is why we really love sharing these stories, because it's not just about the training, it's about changing the relationship that people have with their dogs. So I love hearing that, he's really come out of his shell and he's starting to thrive. And, I'm sure that you're really enjoying these training sessions with him and getting out into the community and networking that way as well. So if you want to see more stories like this, make sure to follow along, and we will see you soon.